President Bola Tinubu has issued a strong charge to the Nigerian judiciary, urging judges to take decisive action to tackle concerns about the integrity of the courts. Speaking at the All Nigerian Judges Conference in Abuja, the president stated that justice must never be for sale. He acknowledged public frustration over delays in cases and a lack of access to justice, calling for courts to become beacons of efficiency. President Tinubu pledged his administration's full support to modernize judicial infrastructure and improve working conditions. However, he stressed that no amount of reform can succeed if integrity is compromised, warning that a compromised judiciary destroys the nation at its core. Well, lawyer Dr. Maxwell Opara joins us now to review the president's speech to the NJI, calling for judicial and ethical reforms to ensure justice is not for sale or for the highest bidder, and how to carry out a reform in the judicial sector. Welcome to Newsday, Dr. Opara.
Thank you, Temitope. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
Now, what do you make of the president's speech? Do you think that it's coming from a very sincere point? And exactly what sort of reforms do we need for all what he talked about to be achieved?
Well, I don't know what you mean by sincere point. I want to commend the president for coming out to tell the entire world that he has no hands in what is going on in the judiciary. That is to say, he has told the entire world that any judicial officer that committed anything should go in for it. Nobody should call the president. What do I mean? The president has exonerated himself before the world. The ball now stop at the table of the judicial officers, because I will continue to say this thing. There's one Justice Ebo, that allowed himself to be messed up during the time of Obasanjo. Now Obasanjo has left after 8 years. Now some judges also messed themselves up during the time of Buhari. Buhari has now left. The dent is with those judges. So the point we are trying to make is that a judge, if there is a case before you and you look at the law, you give judgment. Don't look at the president. Because if you are looking at the body language of the president and you commit judicial impunity, you will be the person to bear it. Thank God that Mr. President have told you, anything that you know that is right, do it. Don't look at my body language. Whether it is sincere, whether it's not sincere, but the world is now before the entire world that the president of Nigeria have said that he has distanced himself from judiciary, that judiciary should be independent. Once there is any case against the government and you know that the government erred, give judgment against the government. If there is any case against Mr. President, give the judgment against Mr. President, because Mr. President has exonerated himself. On the 17th day of November 2025, he told the entire world, before the judiciary, do what is right. Don't look at my body language. Whether the case involves Mazinda Nekalu, whether the case involves anybody, give judgment in line with the law, not looking at the body language of the president. That is what I make out of that particular speech.
Now, but shouldn't we also be concerned about transparency in judicial appointments and promotion, seeing as this sometimes could be politicized in Nigeria? How do we curb that?
Yes, that is we have been shouting on it, because the problem we're having in judiciary now is through the selection process. I want you you are an investigative journalist. Go and check the appointment of judges who have for the past 10 years. You cannot see a daughter or a son of a Panwan Tapa there, no matter how qualified that person may be. The people that will see their names, the daughters and the sons of judges, politicians, and the people that matters in the society. So the selection process matters, because you can't be talking about judicial integrity. You are not talking about looking at the selection process. I think Professor Chido Odenkalo and some other persons, Joe Silas and some other persons, kicked against that the other day. We are not saying that if somebody is qualified simply because the person is the daughter of a judge that will not appoint him. That's not what we're saying. We are saying that let the persons whom you appointed as as judges, let them come and face Nigerians. There's nothing secret about it. We should know their competence, because as I'm talking to you, there are some judgments that you will see coming from some judges, especially all these young ones. You ask yourself, what is happening? Where the law will tell you that 1 + 1 is 2. A judge will now give a judgment telling you that 1 + 1 is 3. So you will now discover that either the judge don't understand the law, or the judge must have collected a gratification somewhere, or because of his interest. So the selection process matters. I think the NBA is doing something about it. If you appoint some people as judges, they should come and address, if not any other person, they should come and address the members of the bar and the members of the press, so that people will put questions across to them. So that one also matters. And also what the CJN said on her own. The CJN said that people should stop criticizing judgment of courts. Mr. CJN, it doesn't work like that. When somebody who is not a lawyer engage you as a lawyer, and the person know that 1 + 1 is 2 in law, and the judgment came out and the judge delivered that 1 + 1 is no longer 2, is 3. The person will ask a question, he will criticize the judgment. Where the law said that in this particular matter, the only court that has jurisdiction, let me just use the issue of chieftaincy. The only court that has jurisdiction is the state high court. And the federal high court will not assume jurisdiction in adjudicating a matter that has to do with the chieftaincy affairs. And when people criticize that judgment, instead of people to look at the reason why that judge assumed jurisdiction, in a case that you don't have a jurisdiction, the judge will be elevated to a higher court. And you said that people should not criticize. You cannot beat a child and ask a child not to cry. People must criticize. Of course, people must have their opinion. The judgment is already there. Because when we are talking about criticism, if you watch previously, there are some judgments, when you read the judgment, even if the judgment is against you, you discover that you don't even have a grounds of appeal. But when judgment is obvious, this judge will give motion expert in the morning. The other judge in the other same subject matter will give another injunction. The other one will give another injunction. Injunction flying here and there. Others creating problem. And they said that people should not criticize. People should talk. People should criticize. People should raise alarm. Because this country belongs to all of us.
Now, I'd like us to examine the mechanisms, currently in place to hold judges and court officials accountable for misconduct. Why does it seem like those mechanisms are failing at the moment?
Well, it is the same thing. Because once a matter is presented before a judge is expected to give judgment in line with the law. In line with the law. So, where the judge failed to give judgment in line with the law, the judge has committed judicial misconduct. And the judge's conduct should be reported to NJC. That is the position. And the NJC should look at it holistically. I must give it to the CJN. He has been doing well with respect to that, because almost all the petition submitted to her in respect of judge's misconduct has been doing justice to that. People should report. People should criticize. People should raise alarm. You don't say that people should not criticize when a judge will now say that this white is no longer white, it's now black, and say that people should not criticize. People should criticize. But the only thing there is that let their criticism be constructive. Let them go by facts. Like when you're writing a petition, you raise the misconduct the judge committed in line with the code of conduct. Raise it. And put it inside the petition so that they will know that, yes, this judge aid in this ruling, he aid in this judgment, he aid in this order, and they should be disciplined and in line with that misconduct.
So what systemic weaknesses, make it possible for litigants, or in some cases politicians, to influence judicial outcomes, and how do we remedy that?
How we remedy that is, one, if a judge give any order, the order that is not supposed to be given, somebody file that application. So So while the NJC is dealing with their own person, who is the judge, the NBA, through a local practitioner disciplinary committee, should also deal with the lawyer, especially the senior lawyers, the senior advocates. These are the people that are even committing all these things. Because when you, before somebody you said as a judge, give this order, somebody filed that application, and you know that the application you are bringing before that judge is wrong. You are not supposed to file that application, and you file that application, they should be disciplined. Then two, if actually it has been confirmed that the judge collected bribe, the person who gives that bribe, if he's a politician, should also be penalized, should be taken to the anti-graft agency. They should investigate the person and prosecute the person, so that nobody no stone should be left unturned in this particular issue. If you commit any crime, you should go in for it. We should have that political will. You see what is happening in PDP now. I learned that this one these are the problems caused by a judiciary. When this one will give this order, this one will give this order, this one, everybody giving their own interpretation. So if they will have the functional judiciary, there are some things that you don't do. When they are bringing this particular issue, said, I don't have jurisdiction, or this particular order has been given by a court of coordinate jurisdiction. Not I'm controlling this court, you are controlling this court, this politician is controlling this court, making mockery of our judicial system. So this is where the NJC should come in. This is where the EFCC and ICPC should also come in and investigate the person that needs to be investigated and prosecute the person.
Now, Dr. Opara, as we wrap up, what measures do you think can be introduced to make justice more accessible to ordinary Nigerians? And how can public trust in the judiciary be rebuilt after years of controversy?
One, there are some matters that should not get to Supreme Court. There are some matters that should not even get to Court of Appeal. I was in a Supreme Court last 3 weeks for a motion. They gave me November 2028. That was the day they gave me for motion. So now, and my client now said that I should just forget about the case. So the point we are making is that there are some matters, if they can amend the law, some matrimonial issues, simple contracts, all those matters, chieftaincy matters, they should start and end up at the customary Court of Appeal. Some will start and end up at Court of Appeal. Some will start and end at the High Court. They don't even have any business of coming to Supreme Court. The Nigerian Supreme Court is the most busiest Supreme Court in the whole world. What are they handling? Some funny issues that has nothing to do with, that is not supposed to be at the Supreme Court. Supreme Court should be a place where constitutional matters, issue of interpretation of the Constitution should get to. So if they can handle these particular issues at that level, you see that we have one quick dispensation of justice, and people will have confidence in the judiciary. Not where you file a matter. If you go to some courts, you will see 2006 matters. You see 2008 matters. They are not supposed to be like that. So, and when you're asking somebody to come, the person will say no. And the two, once there is a matter that has to do with the government, because you can see that I file action against the First Lady, Office of the First Lady. That matter has not been heard. I filed matter against, there is one matter I filed against President Buhari and the former Bello, Mohammed Bello, former Minister for FCT. I filed that matter. They gave me a date 2 weeks after President Buhari handed over. So these are the issues. So if there are some matters that need urgent attention, you give them urgent attention. The ones that are not supposed to be there, you strike it out. And even award cost against somebody who filed that frivolous application before the court. By so doing, we have a quick dispensation of justice in this country.
Very well said. Dr. Maxwell Opara, lawyer, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.